Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I'm Kelly Krezek, CEO and founder of New Earth Development, a regenerative real estate development company. And I'm here to talk to you today about how regenerative development solves global systemic issues. So we all know Earth has an abundance of resources to thrive. We all know it produces a lot of food, water, energy, everything for us that we need to live. Yet, there are 150 million people that are homeless. 719 million people that live on less than $2.15 per day. That's 9.2% of the population. 828 million people go to bed hungry each night. That's 10% of the population. And 850 million workers are unhappy with their jobs, which is 85% of the workforce. Plus, on an environmental level, CO2 levels have risen 40% since 1850, and 75% of the world's forests have been lost. It's obvious that our current civilization system is not working for humans or planet Earth. So we really wanted to explore, why is this happening? And what we actually found is at the core of humanity's problems is actually scarcity, but not true scarcity. It's scarcity invented by the economic system. And that causes issues such as creative suppression, because people are going to jobs that they don't like to try to survive, and that suppresses their creativity. Homelessness happens because of lack of access to shelter. Hunger, malnutrition, disease, that all has to do with lack of access to food. Environmental destruction is happening because we're plundering the planet for resources rather than intelligently managing them. Plus, the environmental destruction is causing the species extinction, disconnection, global warming, and even waste of resources is because of planned obsolescence. War is even fighting over resources. So as you can see, there's a common thread among a lot of these global systemic issues. Plus, nearly 40% of the global CO2 emissions come from the real estate sector. So us in the real estate development industry really have a duty to do something about this. So I'm sorry, I went too far ahead. Oh, it looks like it skipped a slide, but that's okay. The slide that wasn't here is actually a quote by Buckminster Fuller that says, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, create a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." So that is our motto. And this is a image of the Venus Project, which I believe is a beautiful new model of the way that we can build our cities and communities of the future. Who here has seen the Venus Project documentary? Anybody? Okay, well, if you haven't seen it, it is really amazing. It changed my life. The way that it operates is it's a circular design, as you can see. It uses electric vehicle transportation, renewable energy. They grow their own food. And the whole concept is about how we can create an abundance of resources integrated with nature within our cities and our communities so that we can have all of our basic needs met and truly focus on thriving and living our creative passions and doing what we love. And this also can help solve a lot of those major global issues, because then we have access to all our resources where we live. So after I found this out, I knew that this was my life mission. And so I started to begin the research of how I could find the transition to ultimately living like we did, like the concept of the Venus Project would be. So we actually traveled to over 70 eco-villages around the world: Costa Rica, Bali, Thailand, Australia, all over the US, eco-villages and retreat centers that live self-sufficiently. So they have regenerative materials, regenerative systems. I'll get more into what regenerative actually is and share more about that. But we learned what's working and what's not. So I basically took that information, combined that with my background in finance and real estate investments, and created New Earth Development. So what we have done is we work with eco-villages. We've worked on over 19 projects now, ranging from $5 million to $400 million budgets. Some of those projects include a 550-acre community in Costa Rica, 4,000-acre project in Nicaragua with homes, amenities, commercial spaces, hospitality. And we've also built a network of hundreds of the best sustainable builders, architects, regenerative systems experts in the world. So with that information, these are some of the projects that we actually worked on, ranging from 2.5 to 4,000 acres. And these projects, what we do is we help with development planning, financial modeling, pitch decks, business plans, helping projects raise funding, project management, partner and team planning. So we provide all those development services to really help these eco-villages get grounded and really gain momentum to making a difference in the way that we live and build. Why are we doing this? Well, we envision a world where all beings are thriving in harmony with nature, in harmony with each other, and we can actually truly regenerate the planet. So our mission is to demonstrate and scale an innovation of this real estate development industry, in which is self-sustaining, net positive, zero waste, sequesters carbon, and then can transition humanity from just focusing on survival needs to a place where humans can focus on their passions and their purpose. So what we've actually done is we've created a regenerative development model in which the basic human needs of food, water, energy, and waste are provided through the regenerative systems and infrastructure design in the way that we build, so that the residents can focus on connection with themselves, each other, nature, and of course innovations that benefit humanity and the planet. Well, the next slide is about how we can do this through intelligently managing Earth's resources by building regenerative communities and cities. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 different models: regenerative economic regenerative economic model, the regenerative development methods, and regenerative lifestyle. But before I do that, I'm going to get into what is regenerative versus sustainable. So sustainable is to be maintained at a certain rate or level. And regenerative is actually to make it more active, successful, important, bring it into a renewed existence, especially after a period when it's been getting worse. And as we all know, it's been getting worse. So we really need to regenerate the planet by not taking away resources, by adding resources instead of taking away resources, rather than just keeping it the same. So you could see on this graph, conventional development has been degenerative, which means it takes away resources. Green's a little bit better, or maybe adding solar. Sustainable, keeping it at that same rate. And then restorative and regenerative is where we actually increase the resources. So for example, water retentive landscape design can actually create an oasis in the dry season. And then you can plant trees, which sequesters carbon. You can grow food forests, which increases the food production. You'll also bring back biodiversity by doing these things, which increases the animals in the area and allows the whole area to flourish. So this is really what we need to get to. It's called living systems design. So first I'm going to talk to you about this regenerative economic model. This is really important to understand how can we make this actually profitable, right? Real estate developers usually don't do this because they don't understand how it can be profitable. So we really put a lot of effort into making sure that we can create a regenerative economic model that actually can sustain itself. So how it works is the investment flows into the project, and then lot and home sales can actually pay those investors back, plus they pay for the rentals and amenities, which then generate revenue, which then can provide the funding that's needed for those basic needs to be covered: food production, water production, energy production, and so forth. And then that allows everybody to have their basic needs met. Additional profit can go towards a community treasury where people can vote on quality of life improvements, if they want to see businesses, playgrounds, parks, whatever it may be within the communities, so everybody can really flourish. And then additional profit goes towards regenerative building and education, so people can learn how to grow their own food, how to build homes from these regenerative materials, and then you can create more of these communities and the whole cycle starts over again. So a very important piece of this is, of course, the regenerative development methods. This is how it all works. So first, we're going to talk about the regenerative design and building methods. It's so important to have healthy materials that produce positive indoor air quality so that we can be healthy, our families for generations to come, efficient and passive design to use energy and water efficiently. Also, you can build with certain types of materials such as hempcrete or rammed earth. Hempcrete actually sequesters carbon out of the atmosphere. It's mold-proof, pest-proof. You can even build it in a biophilic design, which makes it hurricane-proof, flood-proof, fire-proof, everything that we need in today's age to be able to get through a lot of the natural disasters that have been happening. And we can even get green certifications for these and actually measure the impact that these buildings are making. And then the regenerative systems are important because they are the things that provide those basic needs. The regenerative amenities that you can include, I'll share a little bit on the regenerative systems. So energy such as solar, wind, hydro, water, gray water systems, water recycling, low flow fixtures, zero waste methodologies, composting, biodigesters, permaculture gardens which supply food, and ecological preservation is very important to make sure that we're not plundering the planet for resources but actually regenerating it and allowing it to flourish, because that's what nature does on its own. Then regenerative amenities that can be included would be things that are in alignment with the values of regeneration, such as zero waste grocery, sustainable and ethical retail stores, education that focuses on life skills, unique needs, creativity, sustainability, healing centers that actually focus on preventative care, and event centers that can bring people together. Other regenerative features you could have is things like electric vehicle transportation, 3D printing technology, self-governance methods, cryptocurrencies for new economic models. You can create your own currency within these like some communities have, and eco-products. So all of that can create a truly abundant and thriving lifestyle by developing these communities and cities that have the economic and permaculture at the foundation, can actually liberate residents, and we can usher in an era of unprecedented abundance, innovation, and thriving quality of life, because then residents are free to put their full energy into pursuing their passions, creating art, innovating solutions to world problems, and ultimately living in alignment with those values of regeneration, connection, health, and well-being. So I'm going to share how this can actually be possible through Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is unleashing human potential. So when those physiological needs are met of food, water, energy, and waste, then we can move up to the safety needs. So you can meet those through gated security protection or conflict resolution strategies, which creates physical and emotional safety. Belongingness and love needs can be met through community events, authentic relating, things that bring people together. Esteem and accomplishment needs can be met through just living in a place like this. You know that you're involved in environmental regeneration, global initiatives, you can be involved in community decisions. And then we can reach self-actualization. So this is where we're creatively expressing in our art, inventorship, music, health and wellness, whatever our creative expression is. And so we're bringing all of these pieces together that we've learned from working on all of these projects and all of the research that we've done to Austin, Texas, in a project called Abundancia, which is about an abundance of resources. It's a community that enables all people to thrive because we have all of our basic needs met. And then we can focus on regenerating the environment and showcasing these global solutions through a proof of concept. So this is a few of the designs that showcase the biophilic aspects of the project, how we can build in more organic shapes that is natural disaster proof, how we can integrate with nature. So this project will have hundreds of homes, rentals, and those commercial spaces that we talked about earlier, so people can truly live their passions and purpose. So I have one question for all of you. If you had all of your needs met, how would you spend your time? You can get a hold of us through newearthdevelopment.org. If you have any questions or you would like to connect, we'd be happy to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Check, check, check. Well, let's ask you, if you had all of your needs met, how would you spend your time?
Well, I would probably spend a lot of time in nature. I love just like being able to be in nature brings us back to that peaceful state, right? So being in this state of beauty and nature, and that's why the buildings that we created are more biophilic design, which means love of nature, or mimicking nature as well. So I think that would be a big part, and then also, of course, mingling with people in the community, living as humans are meant to live, and of course, keep on pursuing what I'm currently doing, because I think this needs to get out to as many people as possible in the world.
Yeah, it sounds like not a bad lifestyle right there. I think maybe next year we do EarthX Costa Rica. How does that sound? Yeah, I'll take a little trip together. There we go. All right. So from your experience, you've traveled obviously all over the world and you've been to a lot of these communities. Do any of them kind of stick out to you as really, setting sort of the path for others? And what does it kind of feel like actually being in one of these communities?
Well, it's amazing. Actually, one of my favorites is actually in Costa Rica. It's called La Ecovia. You can look it up, but it's basically, I think, over 100 families, or maybe it's like 50 or something like that, but a good amount of families that they take a lot of the regenerative concepts of permaculture, food forests. So they grow food all over the community. It's lining the streets with all these different types of tropical fruits. They have beautiful mandala gardens, and they also build the buildings with sustainable and regenerative materials. They have like biodigesters integrated, gray water systems. They're really doing it right, where they're taking the common like real estate development model and building an entire community, but all the roads are made of recycled materials, and they just really were super intentional with that. And you could just feel the energy of just love and human connection. They have events, they have an open school where the kids are actually excited to go to their school every day, which is not common. And so, yeah, it's just, you can feel the new way of living integrated within that while nature is flourishing at the same time.
That's amazing. I'll ask you, same question I asked Mayor, what would be your pop bottle of champagne moment here at EarthX?
My biggest desire is just that people get a lot from this talk. I want to be able to make a mark in impacting people in a new way to live and get involved. If this is something that inspires you to actually get involved and share with me how you would want to be involved. If you want to live in a place like this, if you want to invest in it, if you want to be a part of building it, there's just... It's a whole new lifestyle. It's not just about real estate, right? It's a whole new way of living in civilization. So, yeah, I guess it would be just people coming up and talking to me about the excitement of it.
Yeah, well, it's almost crazy because it's not a new way of living. It's almost bringing us back to where we were before we were in such a consumer-heavy lifestyle. Yeah. So thank you for, kind of inspiring us and showing us what that can be like and being here today. Really appreciate it. Let's give it up for Kelly, everybody. Let's help her, accomplish her pop a bottle of champagne moment. You guys get some helpful and inspirational information out of that? Yeah, there we go. All right. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate you
Thank you
coming here today.